Daredevil. Born Again just kicked off Season 2 with one of the most intense openings in the entire series. A massive ship full of illegal weapons. Kingpin tightening his grip on New York. And Daredevil launching the first strike in what could become an all-out war. But the biggest shock of the premiere didn't happen during the ship attack. It came in the final seconds, when Daredevil was about to die, and the last person anyone expected stepped in to save him. Season 2 picks up about 6 months after the Season 1 finale, when Wilson Fisk, better known as Kingpin, essentially took control of New York's Red Hook port and began operating outside the law. Now Matt Murdock is done playing defense. Instead, he's building a resistance. The episode opens with Daredevil attacking a massive cargo ship called the Northern Star, which is secretly transporting more than 30 tons of illegal military weapons for Kingpin's growing criminal empire. The mission is risky, brutal, and chaotic, exactly the kind of operation that shows just how far Matt is willing to go this season. But the attack also reveals something much bigger about Kingpin's plans. The Northern Star explained. The Northern Star isn't just another smuggling ship. It represents Kingpin's expanding power. When Daredevil discovers the weapons on board, the ship's captain and first mate try to destroy the evidence by triggering a self-destruct sequence that sinks the vessel. But the plan only partially works. The ship sinks just enough to block the harbor, instantly drawing attention to Kingpin's operations. And that's exactly what Daredevil wanted. Instead of stopping the weapons quietly, Matt forces the situation into the public spotlight, creating suspicion about Fisk's control over the port. It's the first strategic move in Daredevil's new war. But it also creates new enemies. Daredevil and Karen's relationship. While the war against Kingpin grows, the show also focuses heavily on Matt's relationship with Karen Page. For years across the original Daredevil series, their connection has been complicated. They've been friends, partners, romantic interests, and sometimes strangers. But in Season 2 of Born Again, things feel different. Matt and Karen are finally together. They're hiding out as fugitives while secretly building their resistance network. And despite the chaos around them, their relationship has reached a surprisingly stable point. They train together, plan missions together, and share quiet moments in between the violence. For the first time in a long time, Matt actually has someone fighting beside him instead of trying to protect them from his world. But even with that stability, the past still haunts them both. Karen is still carrying guilt over the death of Ben Urich, the journalist who helped expose Kingpin years earlier. When she speaks with reporter B.B. Urich, Ben's niece, that guilt finally starts to fade as the two form a new alliance. And that alliance could become extremely important later in the season. Kingpin's mysterious new ally. While Daredevil begins assembling his resistance, Kingpin's power continues to grow behind the scenes. After the Northern Star incident, government officials threaten Fisk with investigations and oversight. But before anything can happen, a mysterious man named Mr. Charles walks into the room. He immediately shuts down the investigation. No arguments. No negotiations. Just a quiet reminder that very powerful people in Washington support Kingpin's operations. Mr. Charles isn't interested in near politics. He's thinking on a global scale, which means Fisk's empire is expanding far beyond the city. And if that's true, Daredevil's fight might be much bigger than he realizes. Dr. Heather Glenn's dark transformation. Another major development in the episode involves Dr. Heather Glenn. After surviving her terrifying encounter with the serial killer Muse in Season 1, Heather has clearly changed. Kingpin appoints her as Commissioner of Mental Health in his administration. But instead of helping people, she's now being used to justify imprisoning vigilantes. When she interrogates the masked hero known as the Swordsman, her behavior becomes unsettling. She begins altering psychological evaluations, lying about the patient's mental state, and using the trauma from her past to justify increasingly corrupt decisions. At one point, she even begins hallucinating images of Muse, suggesting that her trauma is pushing her deeper into darkness. By the end of the episode, Heather may already be too far gone. The final battle at Cherry's apartment. The episode's biggest moment arrives during the final sequence. Matt visits Cherry, a private investigator working for his law firm. Cherry has been investigating the survivors of the Northern Star incident, specifically the ship's captain and first mate. That information makes him a target. Soon, Kingpin's corrupt police task force storms the apartment to interrogate him. Cherry secretly texts Matt for help, and Daredevil arrives just in time. What follows is a brutal fight sequence as Matt uses his billy clubs and heightened senses to eliminate the officers one by one. But then something goes wrong. Cherry suddenly starts having a heart attack. The sound of his failing heartbeat triggers painful memories of Foggy's death. Matt hesitates, and that hesitation costs him. The officers overpower him. They rip off his mask and finally discover the truth. Daredevil is Matt Murdock. Bullseye's shocking return. Just when it looks like Matt is about to die, knives suddenly fly through the window. One by one, the officers drop to the floor. Each blade hits with impossible precision. Then the final knife lands beside Matt. Attached to it is a small message. "You're welcome." And next to the message is a symbol. A bullseye. The weapon belongs to Benjamin Poindexter, better known as Bullseye. Yes, the same Bullseye who killed Foggy. The same Bullseye Daredevil nearly murdered in revenge. But things aren't that simple. Last season revealed that Bullseye had been manipulated by Vanessa Fisk into committing the crime. Now, it looks like he might be trying to make things right. What this means for Season 2. Bullseye's return could completely change the direction of the story. Because Daredevil isn't just building a resistance anymore. He's building an army. And according to the season's trailer, more heroes will soon join the fight. One of the biggest upcoming additions is Jessica Jones, the cynical private investigator and former Defender. If Bullseye is also seeking redemption, Daredevil could gain one of the most dangerous allies imaginable. But Kingpin isn't standing still. With powerful political connections and control over the Red Hook port, Fisk's empire is stronger than ever. The sinking of the Northern Star may have exposed cracks in his operation, but the real war is only beginning. The Season 2 premiere sets up a massive conflict between Daredevil and Kingpin. But the biggest twist might be the most unexpected one of all. Because if Bullseye is truly switching sides, the man who once destroyed Matt Murdock's life could become the key to saving it.